wonderful nuggets and things for us to learn so that we can, you know what we do here, help you design your life, reach your life's goals and visions, one episode at a time. Today's guest is Cheryl Gray Hines. And with the topic of today's show is Get to Know Your Limitations. Cheryl Gray Hines is an accomplished entrepreneur, executive coach, and a mentor with a mission to support women to live authentically and be their best. Her deep expertise in leadership, organizational development, and business strategy has equipped her to coach executives and leaders through the most challenging transitions. As the founder of C. Gray and Associates, she teaches Fortune 100 corporations, federal agencies, and high net worth entrepreneurs that leadership integrity is the foundation of stellar business performance. After the introduction, I'm going to be so excited to present to you Miss Cheryl Gray Hines. Welcome, Cheryl. How are you?
Good afternoon, Dr. Lisa. It's a pleasure to be with you. I am doing really well this afternoon because
I'm so glad you were able to join us. Look, you are the author of a wonderful book in support of my self challenges. Oh my goodness. Nobody thinks about supporting ourselves in our self challenges. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, first of all, whatever we write about or teach about are often things that we have to learn. And so in support of myself was something that came about as a result of, I used to be what I would describe as a type AAA personality. So you think about a very driven A personality on steroids. And I was also one of those kinds of people who always felt that I had to handle everything. And so in support of myself is about women, first of all, acknowledging that they have something that I've coined the handler syndrome. I can do it. I got it. I can make it happen. Yes, whatever it is, and stepping up at the expense of themselves. So this book is about helping women to understand that they sometimes create this self-imposed struggle, these self-imposed challenges, difficulties, because of them thinking about everyone else to the exclusion of themselves. And so I'm excited to be able to share different concepts about sort of where those concepts come from, some of the barriers that get in the way, what are some of the strategies that we can employ to move beyond just focusing outside of ourselves and to begin to focus inside. Because here's what happens when we make ourselves a part of the equation. Mm-hmm. We also have more to give. Oh. We're also able to have greater and broader impact. When you're running on empty, you are not able to, you're not able to actually give with the same level of excitement, enthusiasm, energy that you're able to when you take care of yourself, when you're centered, when you're grounded. When you are giving from the overflow versus from a point of depletion. And so those are some of the things that the book focuses on.
So I like the fact that you mentioned a AAA personality. I have never heard that before. Yeah. And the handler syndrome. So did you find that having a AAA personality, that the handler, how do you say it?
Handler syndrome.
Handler syndrome.
I can handle it. All of it.
Whatever it is, right?
Right. I got it. Don't worry. I got
it. And that means, does that mean also handler syndrome? We don't ask for help, right?
That's absolutely true. We don't ask for help. We give help. We look for ways to be involved, to contribute, but we don't ask for things for ourselves.
Wow.
Whether it be that help at home, whether it be, in the workplace, taking on additional projects because you get it done. They know they can rely and depend on you. However, you don't articulate, you don't express, you know what, there's a little bit too much going on here. And it has an impact on us. It has an impact on us from the standpoint of our mood, our emotions. It has an impact on our health. And so the birth of the concept of this book actually came from when I hit the wall. I mean, I had a physician that I think it was about 3 years prior to me getting very, very sick, said to me, if you don't slow down and change the way you are just living your life, she said, something is going to happen to you health-wise. I don't know what it will be, but something will happen. And several years later, I came into her office. I had, 103, 104 temperature. She listened to my lungs and she thought I had pneumonia, had x-rays, came back. And she said, we've got to admit you to the hospital immediately. I mean, whenever I sat down, I literally passed out. It was because my blood oxygen level was at about 50%. And one of the things that we know about high stress is that if there's any tendency for autoimmune system diseases that, may be in your history or whatever, it can trigger it. And that it was, in fact, what happened with me. And so that was the beginning, because I was so ill that I had to ask for help from other people. And
so you had the whisper first. You may want to change a little bit. Yeah. This handler syndrome is going to cause some impact. And then the stress level got compounded. And again, a warning that it can manifest itself, because stress has an impact, and it had a health impact on you. So you hitting the wall, what was the time frame of hitting the wall and getting through on the other side? Can you talk about that a little bit?
And so I would tell you that the time frame, it has been a process, because first I had to realize that all of these goals and all of these things that I was involved in, I couldn't necessarily handle them all. And so here's the thing about when we have certain kinds of behaviors. You'll have the behavior, something will happen, you'll then begin to self-correct, but the tendency for us as human beings is to go back to what we know. And so I'll tell you that it's been a journey, and it has been, probably about 7 or 8 years where I have gotten to the point where I really do ask for support, where I really do look at my limitations. And it's an ongoing process, because life is ever changing. New things come in, new experiences, new commitments, changes in life. All of these things, which cause you to have to continually look at what are the new ways that I need to seek support. What are different limitations that exist because of circumstances that are occurring in my life? Yeah. And so, to your question, what was the journey? It was beginning to look at what were those things that I needed to lessen. So I went from a type AAA, I'm probably an A- now, but I'm still in the A range in terms of my type of personality. All right. But I realized that it doesn't make sense to go and contribute to the extent that I lose out on being engaged in life.
So learning to ask for help, learning and accepting that I can't handle it all, I can't do it all, and quite honestly, you didn't have to do it all.
No. Actually, one of the chapters in the book, talks about that, accepting help from others, accepting angel offers, those people who will come along, because they see that you're a giver. They see that you're a doer as it pertains to others. And they want to rise to the occasion. And very often there are people in our lives who are just waiting to support and help us in some kind of way. But we're going back to the handler syndrome. No, I got it. No, I don't need your help. And so, we've got to accept some of those offers, whether it be those people in our household or people that we may not even know. But the people are always watching and seeing what we're doing and the extent to which we're pouring ourselves out.
I like how you said that angel
Angel,
offers.
yes, accept
Oh,
angel offers.
angel offers. Okay, so now I want to share with the viewers and the listeners that Cheryl is coming to us. You are a wife,
Mhm.
you are a mother,
Yeah,
and you are also an entrepreneur. So you aren't I say it like this, you have a very full plate
I
and
do.
a lot of responsibility. So having gone through that experience and hitting the wall and going through the process of in support of myself, where are you today and how does that impact how you help your clients?
Mm. So where I am today is that, self-care is really important to me. I mean, I start and end my day. I start my day with daily prayer meditation. I do qigong to calm the frenetic energy, as I refer to it. Because my mind is always going, and so I start my day off with that. I end it with meditation and calm, and then I think about what are the things that I really want to accomplish. What is it that I am up to at this point in time in my life? And what is it that other people that are important to me are doing? And how do I want to make sure all of those things are integrated? So I don't look at my life in parts, I look at my
Mm.
life as a whole and where I want to spend the time and the focus and the energy on the whole, right? And so I'm having a whole life experience. Uh,
Oh, I
and
like that.
learn that that I can't be a part of everything.
Hmm.
I may want to, you mentioned wife, mother, entrepreneur. Well, at the same time, if you layer on to that, uh, I was working as adjunct faculty at Johns Hopkins University, and at that time also, I was volunteering for things at my daughter's school. I was leading two women's ministry. I was in a leadership role in a women's organization. So there were things that had to come off the plate in order for me to have a life that includes me as a part of the equation.
Mm. But I like that, a whole life experience, not compartmentalize, but looking at it as a whole and accepting, understanding, and appreciating that some things had to come off the plate
Yes,
in order to make room for yourself.
exactly, exactly.
Mm. So in your experience with your entrepreneurial clients and with your high income earner clients, what is one nugget? Because I want people to get your book. I want people to visit your website and to do business with you. So I don't want you to give away all the goodies, but here I am. I come into your office. I am stressed to the max. I have all this stuff going on. What is the first thing that you do with me when I walk into your office?
Well, the first thing I do is first I tell you to breathe. Okay, take a deep breath.
Look, catch your breath. Yes. Ooh.
Right? Take a deep breath. And now, first of all, I want to know what is it that's bringing you that source of concern, that source of stress, right? Then I want to know what is it that you're trying to accomplish and to understand it's always about the barriers. So,
Wow.
even for instance, with this book, I talk about barriers, right? The barriers that get in the way of us asking for help. It is amazing in the workplace how very often people feel as if they, as leaders, have to handle everything on their own. They have to figure out, uh, you know, uh, for instance, the vision statement and the direction. Well, you want to get input from others so that they will be involved. So I want to know what you're up to, how you are using yourself and your time, and how you can leverage the resources and the assets that are within your organization and those people who actually may have something to offer and give that you're not utilizing because you're trying to do it all. So those are
not even recognizing that there may be some angel offers right in the workplace that I'm totally overlooking.
absolutely. Not only that there are angel offers, there may be untapped capabilities and
Mm,
talents that are being overlooked because you're trying to do so much.
wow.
And so, I want to have you slow down for a minute and let's take a look at directionally where you're trying to go, what are you trying to accomplish, and how are you doing it? Because if you are at that level of frustration, there's something that you're taking on all by yourself. I mean, there may be a colleague that you need to talk to. You may need to learn some things about being a leader versus someone who has technical expertise, and there's a difference between the two.
Yes, there is. Leader versus technical expert. The technical expert has their hands in everything. They're the worker bees getting the work done,
Right.
whereas a leader is more of a guide and
Mhm.
a sounding board and a delegator
Yeah.
and a
Oh, for sure.
and a good delegator.
Mhm.
Oh my gracious. So you mentioned that you start your day off with your prayer and devotions and with your meditation. How does faith play for the individuals that are watching, that faith is an important part of their life and how they move around? What role does faith play?
Well, the role that faith plays is for you to recognize that first of all, for me, it's Christ and looking at God, and so that that there is that God is bigger than the circumstances, and that I don't have to try and control everything because actually there's very little that I am in control of. And so that means looking at where I need to just get quiet and ask for, you know, God to guide and direct me, what to say, how to say it, how to be still and quiet so I can hear, people talk about that voice that they hear from within.
Yes.
Well, I believe it's the voice of God speaking,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And so, but you can't hear it if you're busy. So you've got to have moments to get quiet so you can reflect. I will journal and listen for that voice as well, and then it's amazing. I'll give you an example. Just there's someone who's very close to me who just had a death in their family, and I had asked if I could cook for them because I also do love to cook. And so they said, yes, and I make a really mean beef brisket. All right.
Oh, wow.
That much. Oh, but people love it. So I make it. He said, I would really like that. Well, in my quiet time, that was one of the things that came up. Make beef brisket, string beans, and mashed potatoes. And she said, well,
Wow.
I would prefer roasted, but that was exactly what I wanted. And so I was like, wow. I mean, so when we get quiet, and you talk about faith is about a relationship for me, because faith, what I recognize is different depending upon the person, depending upon what's going on in their life and what their beliefs are. But faith for me is being guided, hearing, listening, and having a relationship, right, with God, so that I can be tuned in that manner. So faith for me is, it's a starting and ending and in between point.
So it's a critical element, and that and being able to cook a good brisket. Yes.
Period. Okay.
Because everybody can't do that. So
I'm one of those go-to house. Go to Cheryl's house. She's good.
I love it. And so now, so why the book? Why the book out of everything that you have? Now, did the book come before the hitting the wall, or was it as a result of documenting post, you're coming through?
It was a result of hitting the wall because,
Mhm.
I mean, literally, when I was at a point where it would take minutes for me to walk from my bed to the bathroom that was in my bedroom, right? Or to walk up a flight of stairs. You talk about faith placed within my spirit. You need to ask others to support you. And that was the beginning of the journey. So what caused me to finish the book, because the book, quite frankly, has been in process for years,
Wow.
was when my mom passed away. And so a part of what I had learned was that because my life was so, as she had coined it, or to quote her, my life was so busy that she didn't want to bother me.
Oh,
And I realized that it wasn't that much. It wasn't as much about me as it was about a concept that often women. I don't want to bother her because, right?
mhm.
And so, she was a very proud woman, and I was like, wow, you don't know all the things that I would have just let go of, because
Yeah.
she lived in another state. She lived, about 500 miles away. And so, that experience with her was, we have catalysts that say, now you must finish this, because I, on a daily basis in my work, encounter not just women, I encounter men as well,
Yeah.
but it is by far more prevalent with women
Yes.
that are overwhelmed, that are struggling, that are trying to take on and do everything by themselves across socioeconomic spectrums,
Yes.
across ethnicities, that are struggling. And I'm like, no, no, no. So I can sit by and go, wow, that's horrible. Or I could do something in the form of a book. At the end of each chapter, it has different questions. So you could, of course, the coach in me, right?
Yes.
So you could do some self-assessment and look at, so what does this mean in the context of my life?
But I think that's incredible because as a mom, when we see our children and we know that they're overwhelmed and we don't want to add another layer, and she's allowing you to adult and be mom and be wife. But at the same time, she's like, I thought you were too busy to
Right,
be concerned. Wow.
right, right,
Wow.
right. I mean, something like that is like, it's like, wow, I don't want that to be ever in my life. So,
Exactly.
that was a turning point for me, also to be aware of how I was showing up in the lives of those people that I love and I care for. Because it's not just all of those things that you're contributing to, in other areas of your life. I mean, are you, if you say those things are important, because quite frankly, for some people, I mean, everyone has different priorities and values,
Yes.
right? And
Yes.
so for someone, it may be the career, and it's okay to not focus on the family or the children. And
Correct.
I'm not saying that that's wrong. That's a different set of choices, right? And
Yes.
we all have to first be clear about what is it that we profess to be important to us, and then make time for it, including ourselves. I love myself. So how do you show it? What do you do?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes. How am I taking care of myself? How am I valuing myself? How is my life looking? How am I showing up? These are all the things that you're talking about because if I am I on the plate? Am I on the list of things to do? So that because you mentioned earlier, in order to better show up for those that we love and care about in our careers and so on and so forth, to bring our best self to the table,
Yeah,
we have to be in support of ourselves.
that's right. That's
Oh
right.
my gosh.
That's
And
right.
so I have your website up. And do you take on individual coaching clients? How do you serve us?
Okay. So I do take on individual coaching clients. I come into organizations. A part of the work that I do is organizational development work. So I do assessments within organizations. I do individual coaching clients. I bring leadership into organizations. And of course, again, my heartthrob is women. So, where there are women's groups, where there are opportunities to speak and to share, I do that as well.
Thank you so much. I want you all to reach out and in particular in the conditions that we are in right now, it's easier to get Cheryl to show up because you don't necessarily have to fly her in, but for your company, if you're interested in changing the culture, if anything COVID has taught us by default is a change in culture. of how we do business and how we show up and how we support one another and still get the work done, please reach out to Sheryl and have her come into your organization. And I believe it starts from the head and works down to the body. So have your leaders come in and have Sheryl work with your leadership team, and then work to develop a plan for your senior leaders, for those managers that are one level down, and to help make that total shift. I so appreciate you coming on and talking to me today and talking about the importance of in support of myself. Now, you were teaching. Do you still teach as well, or was one of the things?
No.
Yeah,
Okay. That came off. I loved working at Hopkins, and that, if you will, adjunct position was like a full-time job. And and we don't realize sometimes the number of jobs. You feel exhausted because of the number of jobs, full-time jobs, that everything cumulatively adds up to. So that was one of the things that had to come up.
And then also, as a high performer, you are a high performer. So even though something in theory may be part-time, you dedicate full-time level of effort in order to bring your best to the table. So thank you for demonstrating for us that is it important for us to take a look at the plate, look at the table, and see everything that's on there and take some things off. It's okay. You'll be fine. And so now, and your daughter, now I'm curious, because as a mom to a daughter, how has she seen you go through the transformation? How has it impacted her?
Well, here's one of the things. Our example is very strong. My daughter is in her senior year of college, and she is involved in many things, leading things. And so we often have conversations about, making time and taking time for yourself. Mm-hmm. I had just recently had a conversation with her. I have been very intentional as a parent about helping her to understand my journey.
Yes.
Right? Including, as an African American woman, a part of my mindset is, be strong.
Yep.
And I remember one time she said to me, there was something that I knew she was upset about. And I said, well, you can cry. And she said, I've never seen you cry.
Ooh.
So I've learned to be very, very candid with her. It was just this past week, she had said something to me about, well, you were all of that and so on. And I was like, girl, I have fears just like you. Okay. You're not the only one. You see me as super mom.
Yes.
But I am a woman. And, and then I have struggles, because life that's just a part of life. And so as a mom, it's about having those boundaries and those lines, and at different phases of life, right? Yeah. It requires us to show up differently. So now we are transitioning into mom will always be there to lean on.
Absolutely.
Woman to woman, right?
Yes.
Which is a different kind of experience. But I believe in teaching that, whether it's she knows how to budget. She knows, how to plan and strategize. She knows critical thinking. Now, a part of that is because of who I am.
Right.
Parents, we do have to be intentional about teaching them things that will help them to be successful in life, and also love themselves, do what they're passionate about, no matter what it is, and understand that they have to take time for themselves in order to do all the things that they want to.
I think that's important. I'm glad I asked you that question, because at some point when we make that transition, my daughter is a millennial as well. And we're still mom and daughter, but now more compadres, right? It's like, no, I understand some things. And they're like, what? You understand that? Yes, I was young once. Believe
Yes.
I didn't come here as an adult.
Exactly. And the journey of learning is never ending.
That's right.
So,
That's right. But thank you, because that's a part of it too, is allowing them to see us and know us and know the experiences that we've had to help inform them.
Yeah.
So as they venture further into adulthood and independence.
That's right. That's right. And
Cheryl,
also to learn from our mistakes as well, right?
yes, yes. And be honest about those, because we've made them.
Exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely. Cheryl, thank you so much. And please do get in contact with her. I am so glad that you all were able to join us today on the Blueprint. I will see you next week. Okay. Tune in, then we'll have another amazing guest. Thank you so much.